My name is Mala Tribich, and I'm going to talk about my experiences during the war, during the Holocaust, because I had been through the whole lot from the very beginning. It started very early. I mean, within 2 months of the war, we were already in a ghetto, and from then on it was always either ghetto or camp or concentration camp or work camp. So, yeah. I was born in Poland, a town called Quadrangle, and I lived there very happily with my parents, and there were 3 siblings. I was the middle one. I have an older brother, Ben, and a younger sister, Lucia, who didn't survive. And my parents didn't survive either, so there were just the 2 of us left. And before the war, I had a normal life, and I went to school, and I did all the usual things, and then war broke out, and there was no more school. And we were the first ones in Poland, not just in Poland, in Europe, to have a ghetto. So we were incarcerated within 2 months of the war. I was 8 when the war broke out. I say nearly 9, but I was 9 at the end of September, but I was still 8 when it broke out, yeah. Well, I was in the Piotrków ghetto, the town I lived in. They took part of it, the poorest, most dilapidated part of the town, and they made it into the ghetto for the Jews. But because other people came from around as well, they came to Piotrków because I was not all that far from the German border, and they annexed they moved the line, and I became, Jewish people had to vacate that part, and a lot of them made their way to our ghetto. And so we were 15,000 in our hometown, 15,000 Jews in a 55,000 population. And in the ghetto, we rose to 28,000, very overcrowded. But through epidemics and lots of illnesses, a lot of people died, and we were 24,000 when the deportations started. The men were sent to Buchenwald concentration camp, and the women ended up in Ravensbrück concentration camp. Then we had to undress. Our heads were shaved. We went through cold communal showers that we could not recognize each other. It was such a transformation. We could just see bald shaved heads and stripes. The faces no longer had any expression on them. And we had been stripped of our identity, our sort of human look. Sometimes we didn't look like anything. We were in Ravensbrück about between 2 and 3 months. We ended up in Bergen-Belsen. And there were people there, but they were like skeletons, and they were shuffling along aimlessly. And as they were shuffling, they'd collapse and die. And there were dead bodies everywhere. And there were piles of bodies and piles of rotting, twisted, decaying corpses. It was a horrific sight. When I saw people running, I didn't know why they were running, or they weren't running very fast, but even so, all I wondered was, how have they got the strength to run? And that was the 15th of April, 1945, when we were liberated by the British Army. And I'll stop here except for one thing, to tell you how wonderful the British soldiers were to us, and how hard they worked, and how hard they tried to save life, but a lot of them were beyond saving. So nevertheless, it was the right army And I mean, from my point of view, I've never lost the admiration and the gratitude for those people who liberated us. Thank you very much. I'm 92. When I survived in Belsen, and after I recovered, I had typhus, like a lot of other people. We were sent to, a group of children was sent to Sweden. So I was in Sweden not knowing if anybody survived, because my mother and sister, who I knew, were killed in the most horrific way by the Einsatzgruppen, and I didn't know who else survived, but it turned out my brother did, and he came to England. He came with the Windermere children, and it was decided then, when we discovered one another, that I should come to England to be reunited with him and not the other way around.